Yeah.
Right, we're being recorded, so
Oh, can we put it on the?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
welcome to the workshop on the draft budget for the land transport, both roading and footpaths. We're in your capable hands, Stephen.
Thank you, thank you. Kia ora koutou. Good morning, everyone. We haven't checked in with you for a few months now on roading and where things sit. And where our proposal with the Wakatahi sits and how that's progressing. So we thought it was timely that we did that. I don't have the services of Tim Langley available to me because he's taking some well-deserved leave. So I'll manage the best I can and sort of take any really technical questions back. So I think the first thing to note here is that our community has been very clear that they're unhappy with the level of service of the network, and we need to do more and we need to do better. And this table, councillors and also the community boards have been really clear to us what your expectations are. That the level of investment has to increase and the contract performance, the results on the network have to improve. So we've heard that message really clearly, and we've been working with Wakatahi on the funding proposal and with Fulton Hogan on the contract in order to make those changes so that everybody sees a lift in service over the next few years. So this workshop is an opportunity to describe very briefly, because we've only got an hour, how we intend to do that and to field any questions or comments from you and to get any guidance, further guidance from you on where we're going. If you look at the budget proposal that has been submitted to Wakatahi, and I must apologise for having sent you an asset plan that was this big and that you also didn't get it because it got stuck in the file all the way to you last time. But this document, even if you have the opportunity to read the executive summary and the strategic outcomes, which is just a few pages early in the document, there's a real benefit in doing that. But I'm sorry it didn't get to you at the time I wanted it to. But in short, if you look at the budgets that we've proposed over 3 years, they're at 31 million over the 3 years. Now, 13.6 of that is in OPEX, and 11.2 of it is in CAPEX. That's the split. And we've got a very significant amount in our low cost, low risk area. And low cost, low risk is a special category of capital works. And that's where we propose to do things like the additional eco reef extensions, for example, or the blue pot stability work, bridge strengthening, capital projects that are really important to the district, and they're isolated in that category. So it's maintenance, it's our normal capital program, and then there's the special category of low cost, low risk, which has got your a special category of capital projects in. Now, all of that amount is a pretty scary number, but all of that amount is 51% subsidised. So all of those numbers are 51% Crown funded.
So that's not the figure we give, that's the total figure, including
That's right. That's right. So all of that is funded at 51%. The only exception to that is the numbers that we've got now on the special purpose road, the Cape House Road. That's funded at 100% for the next 3 years. But otherwise, these are the numbers that are submitted to Waka Kotahi, and they're
Sorry,
subsidised.
sorry, Stephen. When you say Cape Hills Road is funded for 100% funded for 3 years, that's ongoing maintenance and repair. That can we propose upgrades under that 100%?
No, that's your normal maintenance budget. Although that said, Chair, if we had the need to put capital into that road for, say, emergency works, then there's nothing stopping us doing that. That would be funded at the 100%. It would be funded at whatever emergency works rate they gave us, which is normally 71%, around 71%, so it can be more.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Stephen, just
Yeah.
you've got that table there. So for 2024-25 proposal, it might be low. What have you got anything there for what's been was forecast for 23-24?
Yeah, so if you look at our budgets for last year, this is a very significant lift. And last year we spent 4.8, I want to say 4.8 total in 23-24. So we've increased that number by quite a lot, and that accounts for inflation and very significant increases in costs, but it also embraces the lift in service that I was talking about earlier.
So that's effectively what we asked for, wasn't it? I mean, we
That's right.
see the reduction. So just, can I have a quick question in terms of the fire rate at this stage? It's at 51%, is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, is that likely to change over the next few years? I thought it was on a sliding scale to some extent.
That's
when it was initially.
I mean, different councils have different fire rates.
Right.
But you've got to be in desperate circumstances to get better than 51.
Okay.
And we're nowhere near that.
Okay,
I predict it staying the same for many years,
okay.
unless they change the.
Methodology.
Yeah.
One of the indicators is social deprivation.
Yeah.
And we're only about a 4. So we're not in the high range,
Right,
the 8s and
index,
9s.
yeah.
These numbers are the numbers that have been submitted to Waka Kotahi, and the system that we've got of submitting the budget proposals doesn't fit very well with our own system of annual planning approvals. We won't know if we've been successful in this proposal until September this year. We'll start perhaps to get some early signals in June.
September, that far away.
Yes.
Yeah, it is unusual this year. It is usually in June, and you do usually get it for your lock-in, but because of the change of government in October and the uncertainty around the GPS, it's all been pushed out.
Now, alongside making a significant lift in our investment levels, we've also been working with our contractor to improve the way that the contract operates, because feedback has been people want to be sure that there's the proper level of contract management and that the contract is performing at its optimal rate. Now,
What is in the house?
Required a dark routine from the council. A shower in the cup tonight.
As I signalled in the email that you just received, we have recently, the CEs of Carterton and Janice have signed the rollover of the Fulton Hogan contract for another 3 years with the annual reviews. Now, when we did that, we made a few changes to the way that the contract operates, and I think actually they're quite transformative changes. So one thing that we've done is we've lifted unit rates. Now, that actually makes the contract more expensive, and you might think that's not desirable, but we've lifted unit rates only in areas where it matters to us. So we've targeted and allowed increases in rates where we want to improve our levels of service. So in things like like dig outs, the grading of metal roads, and the sealing of pavement, or resealing of pavement. So those are 3 big areas where we've seen shifts in rates, and they will make the contract more expensive. But at the same time as doing that, we've changed the targets so that we're achieving more. So, for example, in Seal Roads, I think you'll remember Tim said that our asset management plan suggests that we should be doing 3% of our priority roads a year. We're nowhere near that. At the moment, we are achieving 0.3%. And that has simply been because we've run out of money to achieve that target. We haven't been invested, we haven't been funded to that level. Under the new levels in this plan, we're able to really reset our targets. We're setting our target back at 1%, and we hope to see that 1% improve over the first LTP period. So even though the rates have gone up, some of the unit rates have gone up, they're in the areas that really matter to us. And another example is dig out. So I don't know how much you know about dig outs, but some of you know this very well, but roading faults start with, alligator cracking, minor cracking, right? And then the surface erodes and it becomes a small, shallow hole, then it erodes more and it becomes a hot hole. And then eventually, when it gets into base material, it fails completely and it becomes something much more sinister. At that point, we dig it out and we replace all of the levels of material in the road. Dig outs are really important to safety and travel experience. Now, I did a little bit of digging here. In 22-23, we did 300 square metres of dig outs. Our target this year was 1,130 square metres, and we're not going to reach that, but we'll be close. The new funding levels will allow us to reset the target at 3,300 square metres of dig outs. So what I'm getting at here is, in terms of the things that the community boards and you have been really asking us to do better on, our sealing targets, dig outs, potholes, also drains and culvert and table work.
Yeah, so water tables.
That's what I was gonna say, and then the culverts.
All of those are addressed in this budget proposal and specifically targeted and addressed in the asset management plan if we can retain this level of funding. Now, yes, Chair.
I was just gonna,
Yeah.
all of that hinges on this level of funding.
That's right, yes.
And it might be too premature to ask what happens if we don't secure this level of.
Yeah, so did you want to ask a question as well?
Kind of just tagging on to that, yes, that would be really good, because I'm just wondering how much of this, what was the original one that you bought for the 24-25 enhancing your plan, or is this actually the first time that we're seeing it for what we're going to do, because we've already gone out and consulted? So
no, this is the number that's in the annual plan.
So it's already in there, so it's already part of our.
Yes.
These are the same numbers that
Yes, that's right.
I add to
So
that,
just,
what was the previous year's budget?
So last year Last year, got behind. OPEX was 2.2 and capital was 2.1. So we had 4.5.
Wow, so this is like a doubling.
4.5, but then we had low cost.
Oh, right, on top of.
So it's not quite a doubling, but it's, it's getting there.
Stephen, just a quick question, and it sort of aligns with the question that Melissa asked. We've already negotiated a contract with our providers, Fulton Hogan, for instance. We've already negotiated based on these figures. Is that correct? I mean, you can't not negotiate unless you give them some surety around what our expectations are. So
I can answer that question with
Okay,
the question because
Yep.
it's the same question. What are the changes that we anticipate to these numbers?
okay,
So these numbers will change because of three things. The first thing is overhead costs. So we haven't calculated overhead cost on these numbers. We can claim all overhead costs that relates to the management of the network for a subsidy, and we do that. So like all of our staff costs, for example, are all overhead costs that are claimed back into Waikato and attract a subsidy.
So Stefan, is that, so what you're saying, that's the money that is going to the contractor, that 9 million goes to the contractor effectively, not our costs?
It goes on the roads.
Say?
You're saying that goes on the roads.
But it goes on the roads, but this also includes all of the costs of managing the network, which includes overhead costs like FTE and staff costs.
is that what comes under asset operation?
It's actually 151, which is management of the roading, footpathing, and something else.
Additional to that number.
No,
It probably comes in your top line. Asset maintenance, I think, is where that lands in.
And
151.
the amounts that you gave us before that you read out of that one, did that include what we were getting from the government? So that amount that you gave us, because if it doesn't,
2.2 million.
So-
the numbers that I'm using are your gross numbers, half of which, 51% of which will be paid for by the grant.
so that's why it's doubled. I just wanted to clarify. So last AP, we didn't ask for as much from
No,
them.
we didn't.
So,
Because we were at
so the
we-
2.2 includes what we got from them for asset.
when I was saying
Yes.
capital and yes, it does. That's right. So we didn't change it last time. I'm getting to a question, Melissa.
No, that's okay.
We didn't change it last time because we were concentrating on an uplift in water. Couldn't do water and roading at the same time. But also we were in the final year of the land transport plan, and we're locked
Change
into
out of-
these 3-year cycles. So this is an opportunity that comes around once every 3 years. So back to the chair's question, these numbers can change in 3 ways that I can think of. One is corporate costs. So there will be some corporate costs that needs to be added to this because we didn't add this in because these were submitted prior to the annual plan process. And we hadn't added corporate costs at that time. They're under 500,000, but they will need to be added. The unit costs that we've negotiated an increase with Fulton Hogan are not reflected in these numbers, so that will bring some of our costs up. But as I explained, those only the unit rates that these trusts have gone up. And also the other thing that might change them is if we don't get funded at the full amount. Now, last time we did this with Waikato, we lost 10%. And most of that 10% was in low cost, low risk. And that could happen again. We could be fully funded or we could lose a certain percentage. I have heard people from Waikato tell me both things are true. So I really have no intel for you, I'm afraid, on where that might land.
I think the only thing we can take some comfort from is the minister is pushing for maintenance and renewal of existing assets. So if they are going to cut money, I would hope it would be in that new territory. But also that puts Eco Reef at risk as well. So I'm hoping, and I did make a strong play when Emma and Mark were here to leave us alone. There's other big fish out there you can go and take your money from, leave us alone. But obviously they can't do that. They have to do an across the board adjustment. So.
And I think they've heard that. We've our asset management plan strategic objectives are safety, maintenance and resilience, but align perfectly with the government's GPS with their funding priorities. And we've had Waka Kotahi out here twice now, and they go around and they audit our books, they audit the AMP, and they go out with Tim and the team and they go right through the network. They've done that twice now, and they're very happy with what they've seen. They're very happy with the AMP. So we are doing everything we possibly can to shore up our side of the proposal, but as Janice has said, it's a national thing. So if it does change, then we will come back to you and we'll have a conversation about, here's how we might reorder things within the work program. Does this meet your needs? Do you have any further guidance for us in terms of where the priorities are? But I think Tim and I have got a pretty clear idea of where you guys are sitting. So I wouldn't think that will be too hard a conversation, and hopefully we don't lose too much. Now,
Certainly appreciate, saying that councillors will be involved in that discussion about reprioritisation and then that final figure comes back.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We'd be looking for all the help we can get. Yes.
So the asset operation figures, what does that cover? What's asset operation mean?
So these are your OPEX numbers. So, this is all of your regular maintenance on the network. This is your capital, this is your capital cost. So this is your things like, what have we got here? Chip stealing, renewals, pavement.
Realise that, but I just wonder what's the difference between asset operation and asset maintenance?
Maintenance.
Like, so what do those two things cover?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I'm sorry, this is just all OPEX to me.
Yeah.
But I can, I'm sure it's broken down in here. Let me.
I was going to say, read the 900-page document. I'm sure it's
It's only
41 pages.
How many?
341.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that this afternoon.
I can get a breakdown for you.
That'd be cool.
That just comes from the work classes that Waka Kotahi use for grouping things.
Yep.
So they're different work classes from their perspective, which is why they come through the way they do. But Stefan's right, that whole two sections at the top is all the money that's maintenance.
Sorry, could I just clarify on that, Stefan? Did you just say resealing is a capital cost?
Renewal, yeah.
Yeah, renewal is.
Is it?
Resealing is, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're resealing a stretch of road, not if you're doing a pothole.
Is that like just a capping or a whole overlay, or is that just the resealing of just the tar seal?
Both of those.
See, I thought it was maintenance, because it's here.
I would have thought maintenance, but
I thought it was
so could I just take that a little bit further? In your in the document there, you talk about and you mentioned it, talking 0.3% of at the moment we're doing 0.3% of our pavement renewal, and this new budget brings it up to 1%, just under 1%, I think.
Yeah.
In the document it says but the analysis now validates the need for a fourfold increase. In that 3-year period, are we going to get to the fourfold increase, or are we going to be stuck at this sort of 3% or the threefold increase? Because ultimately we're still going backwards.
Yeah, we are. And if we follow the recommendations of the AMP, we would be doing 3%, but A, that's extremely expensive, and B, we need, in trying to achieve that number, and I think we will achieve that number over an LTP period, we need to stage that with the contractor. If we went to all of those targets now with Horton Logan, we would be beyond their their
Yeah, I suppose when I'm looking at those figures, what I'm seeing is probably less than an inflationary growth of those numbers. So over that 3-year period, I would doubt that we're actually increasing anything. We're probably just holding our head above water.
But in the unit, that might be right broadly, but in the unit rates where this work happens, we've got 25% in for inflation. And then we've added additional investment levels that will allow us to meet our targets. That's what we had in mind.
Okay, so coming back to what you and Janice said, that renewal is capital. You look at renewal going from 3.5 million to 3.7 million to 3.9 million. That won't even cover the rate of inflation of renewals. So in terms of our capital expenditure on our roads, we are effectively still going backwards, not forwards. Is that a fair reading of that, Janice? I don't know.
No, because you know, this, as I explained earlier on, if you were looking at the unit rates for resealing, they would have been 700, 600 or 700,000. You know, and now they're at 1.8. So we have got inflation and an additional investment level that will allow us to meet the 1% target. And then so we're dealing with a raised level that's going to allow us to meet that 1% target. Then we're probably adding 5% as we go through the 3-year cycle. So I'm confident we'll meet the new target over time. But I can explain that.
Your numbers there wouldn't suggest a 5% increase each year in actual renewal.
Yeah, but it's had like a 200% uplift or.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah.
Meaning that,
Yeah.
so instead of saying like a gradual.
No, I agree. We've gone like that, but again, we're going to plateau out or come down again.
We're still plateauing above.
Way above.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but we are still, instead of 300 years to replace, we're down to 290 years to replace.
2 years' time, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point. So I'm not quite sure that our second and third year uplifts in our capital is enough yet to get us, you know, but fantastic. We're increasing. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I think we need to, it's all academic, because I mean, this is just the proposal for the budget as we talk NZTA. We're still going to have to go through another discussion later on when we get the result back from them.
But on that point, Aidan, if there's a possibility they're going to knock us back 10%, should we be going for higher, expecting it to 10%?
I think we need to know how
They might
it's going to affect what our rates will be,
Yeah.
to be honest. I mean, I don't think we should.
Then we get the
This is in our
Yeah.
current.
No, I'm saying if it comes in and then suddenly we've got unplanned expenditure.
That I guess is the issue that I was asking. We need to strike our rates well ahead of knowing what the outcome of this will be. So I guess that was my earlier question. Strike our rates based on this, what then happens? And my very limited understanding would be that we would have to reduce our work program to fit.
If we continue with this in the rates and they reduce our operational budget, then you have the opportunity of using the money that you've got there for your 49% that you thought you were going to spend to bulk up that a little bit. So you can still use the money on roading, you just use it as unsubsidised instead of subsidised.
there is also I'm sorry, Councillor Gray, you had a question. I don't want to.
Yeah, it was
Similar.
it was very similar. It was around the fact that when we were first looking at all of this stuff in an LTP conversation, one of the comments that was made was around trying to have an LTP of honesty. So the phrase that we hear all the time is, you know, historic underinvestment, you know, yada, yada. Is this getting us close to not underinvesting anymore?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
This is a responsible.
I don't want to sort of, over-egg this, but this is a very significant uplift.
And that's what we've talked about in the AP, that this year we have really increased our investment in roading because we know it's important to the community.
You and the community will see the results of this over the next couple of years. If we continue to invest in the levels that are and fantastic. Now, you are also doing something with the contractor to increase the efficiency of the contractor. So it makes a real difference to the performance that you'll see on the net. One of the things I might have mentioned before is we have agreed find and fix provisions in the contract. And these provisions are normally what you would see in an alliance contract, but we've negotiated something similar with Fortune. And that means that the teams are going out with doing an inspection with a large vehicle that's got a kit in it that allows them to do a whole lot of different things on the network. A pothole fix, a line fix, a sign fix, a culvert clearance, a drain clearance, and they're not restrained by.
You say they can do a drain fix on the network. What does that mean?
On the roading network, on the roading.
Roading network. I thought you're talking about Wi-Fi.
So these that means you have to just stick to programmed work. And you know, you often hear customers saying,
oh, that's great.
They just drove right past this pothole and they fixed that pothole.
That's really good.
Wasn't in their program work. So we've created a flexibility where they can go out and do all of that work.
Oh, that's cool.
And concentrating on one particular geographic area and then bundle that up and charge us for it and look at in the program. And it's a really good flexibility, and I think it's going to help.
Oh, that's so wonderful, because if you say that so annoys the ratepayers, yeah.
It is something you hear a lot, isn't it? So
yeah.
And also what we've done when we renegotiated the unit rates is we've renegotiated the way that the contract is business. So connected to that flexibility, they now bundle potholes or other types of remediation, and because of the volume, we actually save money. And so the contract is becoming more efficient, and it's becoming more cost efficient.
I can absolutely see why it's needed. As you know, from being on the community board. But I also, I'm just wondering, does this include all of the work that's going on with the Carter tip, you know, that we've been discussing with regards to the road signs and all of that as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Oh,
yeah.
I'm happy with that. So what?
The projects like the lighting project and the upgrade of pedestrian crossings in Martinborough in the wider region are in our low cost, low risk category.
Oh, no.
They're funded.
No, I mean the plan that had been on hold until we waited from central government, and now it's going to.
Oh, the speed management.
Speed management, yes, review, that's the word I was looking for.
The costs associated with the speed review, which are mainly marking and signage, are also included.
They're already included, excellent. I want to confirm that, Cole.
The only thing that isn't, that's a good question, what isn't in the the only thing that isn't included in these numbers is emergency works.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, last year we just, I can't remember, $2.5 million worth of emergency works.
But we also now have the Infrastructure Resilience Fund.
We do.
Hopefully be a stopgap for that.
That's right.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Stefan. Now, Rumahanger Roads is a business unit controlled by both Carterton and South Wairarapa District Council. And I'm just looking at the big picture for the contractor at the end of the day, because ultimately these things have to stack up financially for them to retain their business model and to keep them in business effectively. Yeah. So the spend that we spend is our spend here in South Wairarapa.
Yeah.
Carterton would have a similar spend for their rating.
They're just
lower.
Do you know, actually, Carterton used to spend more than us, but we have actually gone ahead of them now. I think they're spending
22.
Yeah.
So the total value of the contract to Fulton Hogan is 53.
I would also say, and I
Yeah.
apologise for having not said it sooner, but I was at a meeting a few weeks ago with Stephen Carterton Mayor, who is often critical of this council, but who couldn't thank and praise our staff
Correct.
enough for the work that they have done on the Rimahanga Roads negotiation
Yeah.
to date. He was very happy, very surprised. They had apparently CDC had been very concerned about where that relationship would go, and they are thrilled at the work that's been done. So
Yeah, you mentioned that. with the
we've-
Combine District. Yeah.
We have, you know, I can't say too much in public, but we've gone over the way that contract operates in real detail. It's not just the cost efficiencies that we've achieved and the alliance, like, you know, ways of operating. We've also changed the way that we evaluate and inspect. We've got a much stronger emphasis on auditing and audit control. We've got you know, the way that we use PACE, which is the primary way that contractors report and are evaluated. You know, now if there's 3 PACE scores that are lower than we expect, we can issue default notices. We've built in very strong annual reviews into this last 3 years. Each year in December, we review the performance of the contract. If we don't like it, we can walk away from it. So, you know, and there's also a lot of governance improvements that we've made. We've said to them, councillors have asked us to do easier at communicating successes and wins. So we're going to be getting a lot, you'll see a lot before and after. You'll see forward work programs coming on to the website so that people know where the teams are going to be working a month ahead. So people will be able to see what we're doing. They'll also be able to see what we're going to be doing. And that creates that trust and confidence and a feeling of momentum about how we're spending ratepayer money. And the contractor is coming along with us and doing it with us. So it has been a lot of work to set that up, but we have a very willing partner in Fulton Hogan. And though there's been some increases, that is nowhere near what we would have experienced if we had to go back into the market. Other councils have seen millions and millions of dollars of increase just to get themselves where they were. And so we've avoided that, at least for 3 years.
That's fantastic, yeah.
Oh, well done.
Cool. Excellent.
Okay.
Sorry,
Goes well.
can I just ask,
Yeah.
Stefan, when were the rates agreed with Fulton Hogan?
I think we signed the notice contract in March.
Because I'm just thinking that we had all our workshops for then in the last, when we did our budgets and things, so are the new rates incorporated into the current annual plan?
No,
You've already answered,
no, so
Sorry,
that was
yeah.
one of the 3 committees there.
because
Okay.
it had to go in October last year, I believe, so.
Yes, I knew you'd said that, sorry, I'm just going to get this in my mind, so the increase in cost of the program
Yeah.
is about what, 35%?
Well, that's deceiving. We will experience increases in the contract cost, but the level of investment that we've got here more than covers that increase. So it's not going to severely affect the way that we deliver the work program. It still meets the new targets that exist in the contract. And remember, so we've got efficiencies in the way that we're operating, which is making us more cost efficient, which also helps us in.
Okay, so the consultation document that's gone out doesn't have these figures, correct?
It has those figures.
There's those figures, but doesn't have the new rate figures. So there could well be a change in those figures from what we went out to consult on, or
No, those figures will stand, or whatever figures come back from NZTA, we will modify our work programme.
If we modify the.
So these,
Fourteen.
Alright.
these notice in the consultation document that the budget has been set, but we're still waiting from
Yeah.
NZTA to come back with
But
that.
you're right, Alistair, you're right. Ben.
So I'm just trying to get my head around what this is going to mean
Well,
and what.
So, yeah,
Okay, so what will that mean practically out in the,
you can't compare what we had and what we're going to get because of what Stefan's explained, because it's a different way of operating the contract. So if you carried on the way you were, then I think you would have seen a reduction in delivery. But because of the change to the contract, you're not going to see as much change in the delivery because they're going to be bundling work together and being more cost efficient in how they deliver it.
And we're concentrating on certain areas of certain activity classes, like grading of rural roads, resealing water tables, drains and culverts and potholes. Where before we were trying to do everything across the activity classes. So you sort of concentrating on certain segments of things, largely based on public and councillor feedback.
Could I ask you, so you see what we're concentrating on, so what are we? Right, we said here deconsecrating on, what are we calling?
Well, so we're lifting.
Change the emphasis.
We're lifting, councillor, so
Yeah,
in certain areas we're lifting, in other areas you'll see the level of service, more or less constant.
more or less, but some's a bit less. I just wonder which areas might be perceived as a bit less.
I think you're all asking me the same question in different ways,
Yeah.
which is what does the work program look like once we've settled the budget?
And we've,
Can I come back to you on that, because it's very hard to answer.
but arguably, we wouldn't know what the work plan will look like until September when this is
Certainly.
confirmed, because
And we know.
because if we lose 10%, the work program will look one way, but if,
Well,
worst case scenario, we lost 20%, it'll look very different.
and also remember, the funder doesn't always come back and just say, please, reduce your proposal by 10%. They cut that, because this is a conversation around the asset management thing. They may come back and say, we think your targets for resealing are not achievable. And we would like to stage you differently across the 3 years and change your numbers that way. So there's all kinds of things that can happen. I'll come back to you as soon as we have the information, you'll have it in terms of what the outcomes. But then we can, there are some things we can't do. It's very hard to move money from low cost, low risk into OPEX, for example, but there is a bit of flexibility within maintenance that can mean we can reorient things, and I've said that you'll be part of that conversation. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, thank you. Hope that was useful.
Yeah, very good.
We've got 341 pages to read.
It is
Yeah.
the front section of this is really worth reading.
Hmm.
I just.
Sorry, who put that document together?
We did this, yeah.
So, okay.
No, just
No,
clarifying.
Together.
Our consultants, they were.
They might have turned up now and again.
Does that all include cards and stuff, Andy, ours, or just?
Yes.
This is the Bible, councillor, I think you would really enjoy it.
Yes. But joy's quite the right word, but.
Oh my God, you will love it. You will love it. You will never go far again.
Oh, well, just on public roads.
Delighted by that change in the approach to the contract management. I really think that's really inspiring. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Stefan.
Awesome, thank you.
There's some really nice muffins.
When you have one, he's already snapping.
Done?
You let him get, I mean, when you.